You just got a raise. Your first thought isn't about your future. It's about what you can finally afford. A nicer apartment, a better car, dinners out instead of dinners at home. It feels like progress. It feels earned. But here's the problem. Your bank account doesn't feel any different than it did before the raise. How is that possible? This is called lifestyle creep, and it is quietly draining the wealth of millions of Americans who think they're doing everything right. Lifestyle creep happens when your spending rises every time your income rises. Not because you need more, because you can. A $10,000 raise turns into a $10,000 increase in expenses. The paycheck grows. The gap between what you earn and what you keep stays exactly the same. Sometimes it gets worse. Researchers at the Federal Reserve have tracked this pattern for years through their survey of consumer finances. Income for many households has climbed steadily over the past 2 decades. Savings rates, though, barely moved. For a lot of people, more money simply means more spending, not more security. Why does this happen? Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. You get used to a nicer life fast. What felt like a luxury 6 months ago now feels like the bare minimum. The upgraded apartment stops feeling upgraded. The new car just feels like your car. Your brain resets its baseline, and suddenly, last year's version of enough feels like deprivation. Think about someone who gets promoted from a $55,000 salary to $75,000 salary. That's a real, meaningful raise. But if their rent goes up $200 because they move somewhere nicer, their car payment goes up because they upgrade, and their weekend spending doubles because they can finally treat themselves. The extra $20,000 disappears before it ever reaches a savings account. Illustrative numbers, but the pattern shows up again and again in real financial behavior. Here's what makes this so dangerous. It doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like success. You worked hard. You earned more. Why shouldn't your life reflect that? The trouble is, wealth isn't built by what you earn. It's built by the gap between what you earn and what you keep. And lifestyle creep closes that gap every single time your income rises. Vanguard has published research showing that consistent, automated saving, even in small amounts, outperforms sporadic large contributions over time. The mechanism is simple. Money that's saved before you see it never gets the chance to become a habit you have to break later. Money that sits in your checking account, waiting to be spent, usually gets spent. So what actually works? Financial researchers generally point to automation as the fix. Not willpower, not discipline, not promising yourself you'll save more next month. The moment your income increases, redirect a fixed percentage of that increase straight into savings or investments before you ever see it in your spending account. If you get a $500 monthly raise, automatically move $250 of it into an index fund the same day. You still get to enjoy some of the increase, but half of it builds your future instead of funding a lifestyle you'll eventually get used to and stop appreciating anyway. This single habit, done consistently over 10 or 20 years, is often the real difference between two people with identical incomes ending up in completely different financial positions. Not because one person earned more, because one person let their spending rise with their income, and the other one didn't. There's a name economists sometimes use for people who resist this trap. Stealth wealth. Not flashy, not dramatic, just quietly redirecting every raise, every bonus, every windfall into their future instead of their present. From the outside, their life might look identical to their neighbors. On paper, their net worth tells a completely different story. None of this means you shouldn't enjoy your money. Depriving yourself completely often backfires, leading to burnout and eventually overspending anyway. The goal isn't zero lifestyle improvement. The goal is capturing a portion of every increase before your brain has the chance to normalize it. So the next time you get a raise, a bonus, or a windfall, pause before you upgrade anything. Ask yourself a simple question. Am I about to buy a better life, or am I about to buy a more expensive version of the same life? This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always consider consulting a licensed financial professional before making decisions about your money. Your income will probably keep growing over your lifetime. The only question that matters is whether your wealth grows with it, or whether your lifestyle quietly eats every gain before it has the chance to.